Hello. Welcome. Hello. Hi. To our Phantom Menace podcast. I'm Griffin Newman. With me, as always, for this one episode that we've just started recording and the episodes that are going to always into the future, is a very tall man, David A. Sims.
Hey, how you doing?
David and I started this podcast because we had a question we needed answering. Much like the wildly popular Serial, which I think was the first podcast ever recorded.
Yeah, it was certainly the first podcast to ever ask a question.
Yep. We're going to follow in their footsteps and devote this podcast, which will run. It'll be a podcast mini-series.
Yeah.
All investigating one question, much like is Anand Syed guilty or innocent?
He's guilty.
He's definitely guilty, no question. And Jay worked with him on it, no question. We don't need fucking 12 episodes to answer that.
No.
It's
a great start.
We answered that 5 minutes into this episode.
Exactly.
But our podcast is going to take longer than that to answer because our mystery is, our question is...
It's far deeper.
What is Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, about?
What's that movie about?
I don't know.
It was a big movie.
Huge movie.
I think a lot of people saw it.
I think probably everyone who's listening to this saw it.
I should hope so.
I should hope so because, I mean, proportionally, the percentage of the human population that saw that movie is grand.
Directed by George Lucas, written and directed by George Lucas.
His
1999
fourth feature film.
Yep.
People don't realize that. He made 4 movies up until that point.
It was his fourth film, yeah.
He directed a film called THX 1138.
Yeah. With Robert Duvall.
Directed a film called American Graffiti.
Yeah, without Robert Duvall.
He directed a film called Star Wars.
Sure. Was he in that one? I forget.
Duvall? No.
He didn't come back, yeah.
Did not direct Empire Strikes Back.
Irving Kershner.
The great Irving Kershner, the late great. Did not direct Return of the Jedi.
Richard Marquand.
Correct, the late great.
Yeah. Oof, R.I.P. I didn't know.
Came back for Phantom Menace. Now, up until that point, we could argue that his career was golden.
Bulletproof, pretty much.
THX, very critically well regarded.
Influential movie.
Cult classic, but small scale.
Sure.
American Graffiti, one of the most profitable films of all time up until that point.
And a really wonderful movie.
Blockbuster success.
Yeah.
And ironically, a film that's, its strengths lie in its characterizations, its dialogue, its nuanced performances.
Yeah, and like its sense of place and time. You know, it's a really a movie about a certain point in American culture. It's a movie very evocative of its.
But it's grounded,
era.
It's realistic,
Absolutely.
and its humanist dramatics are very strong. All these things that people would later go, well, Lucas was never good at that. That was never his thing.
He's great at it. Wrote and directed that movie. He's nominated for 2 Oscars.
Mm-hmm. Then you make Star Wars.
Great movie.
Pretty big.
Could have used Robert Duvall.
Could have used Bob Duvall, the great Bob Duvall.
I don't know.
The late, great Bob Duvall.
Oh, wait a second. Breaking news?
I just got word. The great Bob Duvall.
He could have been like a
us.
Jawa or something, like an ornery Jawa. Anyway, we're not talking about
I would have liked him as Lando, but...
Well, he's not it. Anyway.
Yeah. You're right. He doesn't have a mustache. Star Wars, huge hit.
Big hit. We're not really here to talk about Star Wars.
We're not here to talk about Star Wars. And we'll get to that in a second.
It was a hit. It was a hit.
In a second, we'll talk about how we're not here to talk about Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's not our interest here.
No.
Huge hit. The die is cast. Yep. George Lucas is a power player.
And then he drops the mic.
Drops the mic, walks away for 22 years, doesn't make another film.
Right.
Oversees Empire and Jedi, various TV
Overseas
cartoon,
and Empire, one could
Overseas
say.
and Empire, creates all these technologies, creates all these new companies to support those technologies, creates a merchandising bonanza. I don't know if this is an obvious fact to everybody, but if this is a well-known tale, George Lucas negotiated for the first Star Wars a lower salary as a director,
right,
in exchange for the full rights to sequels and merchandising.
And the merchandising, I think, the most profitable part of the whole Star Wars franchise. Yeah,
Correct.
That's where all the money comes from.
And so by making that one choice, that one decision, banking on himself and the future of this franchise, he gives himself the freedom to do whatever he wants for the rest of his life.
Right.
He now has ungodly amounts of money. He can do whatever he could make any movie he wanted. He steps away. As you said, he drops the mic. And he comes back in 99. And the anticipation was through
fever pitch.
The roof. This guy hasn't made a bad movie yet.
It's true.
How could this go wrong?
Did it go wrong?
People didn't like it.
Made some money.
It made a lot of money.
I've definitely seen it more than one time. I don't know about you.
I've probably seen it 10 times.
Yeah. I owned it on VHS.
I own it on Blu-ray.
I also own it on Blu-ray.
I never owned it on DVD. That was the middle.
Me neither.
Those were the years where I didn't want to watch it again.
Yeah.
But huge hit.
It's called Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
That's the full title. At the time of its release, reception was mixed. I think people couldn't really process it.
Right.
And
it made a gargantuan amount of money.
Once again, tons of cheddar.
Yeah.
But in the years since, the public perception of the film has become rather toxic.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of seen as the beginning of a great decline, sort of on the level of like the Roman Empire, something like that.
99, and by, I believe, 2012, 13 years later,
Sure.
Lucas announces that he's selling the entire empire to Disney.
Yeah.
He's washing his hands of Star Wars. He's letting go. And as we all know, new Star Wars movie coming out this year, J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, sure.
Not only is Lucas not directing it, but that he has no creative participation in it.
He's literally like, I think they said, well, we'll give him a call maybe once, but like I don't think he's allowed really to have any input.
But what fascinates you
I think he said he gave them story ideas and they were like, yeah, okay, sure.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They just like put them in a drawer.
Yeah, one of the things he was like, well, the main reason they wanted to buy the company was because I had this dossier full of story ideas. And then they read them and they were like, you're good. You can keep those.
I would love to see those one day. I bet Duvall was back.
Yeah, Duvall was the main character.
Oh, yeah.
As himself.
Yeah. And then it just got, that whole dossier just got turned into The Judge.
Yeah.
That The Judge is George Lucas's idea.
That's my big problem with The Judge is it feels like it's so steeped in mythology. You can't really watch it as its own film because there's so much emphasis on like the background characters.
Yeah.
And the ships and everything.
Yeah.
The Judge is a terrible film. It's one of the worst films I've ever seen. Have you seen it?
It's 2.5 hours long. I have not seen it. I think it's the one Oscar-nominated film of the year I haven't seen.
I'll wait for you to see it, and then we'll start talking Judge. That'll be our next podcast.
Yeah, sure. That'll be a spin-off of this podcast.
How many spin-offs? Judge and the Judge.
Do you think we're going to get out of this podcast?
Oh, so many. Like 40. This is the start of a franchise.
Yeah, we're going to have to like quit out everything else that we do.
Yeah.
And just maintain like a spin-off empire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here
Fingers crossed.
Producer Ben.
He's right here.
Hey, I'm here too.
Back in the saddle with Producer Ben.
Yeah, I'm back.
He's back.
I'm glad to be working with you again,
back.
Griffin.
Much like George Lucas.
Yeah,
after his sabbatical.
He's back.
Producer Ben is back to working with me.
So, who are you in this? Are you Rick Berman, or is that a Star Trek guy? I forget. Who's the producer on Star Wars? I forget.
Gary Kurtz was one of
Gary
them.
Kurtz,
right? Yeah. Whatever. There's a new guy for the Phantom Menace. I forget his name. It's Rich something, right?
Sure.
Rick something. But this is our point. This is what fascinated you and I when we talk about this movie,
which we do often. We often talk about it.
Pre-'99, no one had anything bad to say about George Lucas, save for maybe Marsha Lucas, his ex-wife.
She had a lot of bad things to say. I think she started the Ewoks or where everything
100%.
That was her. That was 100%. All her. Yeah, and Duvall too.
But fanboy reception, everyone loved Lucas.
Yeah, everyone. And those movies, and they were re-released. He re-released these special editions, which now everyone hates what he did to them. Back in the day, everyone was sitting pretty.
Happy to see those movies on a big screen again.
Absolutely. A new generation of kids got to see those movies in a big screen.
But 13 years, they changed everything. By the time he sold the company to Disney, everyone went, thank God this guy has no hand in Star Wars anymore.
Yeah.
This is the movie. This is the turning point. This movie is where the whole story of our relationship, the public's relationship to Star Wars really hinges from being, 100% golden to being a very, very complex, difficult, almost Sid and Nancy-ish, violent, destructive relationship between content and consumer. Everything turned there. And since then, in those ensuing years, a lot of people like to shit on Phantom Menace. They talk about how bad it is, and they create a lot of comedy, talk about how dumb it is, how stupid it is.
Yeah.
How infantile it is.
And it's almost hacky, I feel like, at this point, to complain about the Phantom Menace. Because it's like, we know, we get it.
That is not what we are here to do.
No.
Are we here to praise Phantom Menace? Absolutely not.
No.
Not our interest. We're here to investigate. We want to figure out what it's about because it's a weird movie. Taken on its own, it's a weird movie.
That's exactly it. We want to take this movie on its own terms.
This is our key point. This is where we are changing the game.
This is a piece of cinema that came out in 1999, the most profitable, successful film of the year, most talked about movie of the year. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks about it in the terms you're describing. It's the the hinge on which this whole franchise kind of fell apart.
It's so disappointing in comparison to the original films.
Forget the original films.
We're not going to talk about them.
Forget the following films.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the cartoons.
Yep.
Forget, I don't know, the holiday special.
All of it.
All of it. Just take it, put it in the garbage, and just leave the Phantom Menace.
This introduction, this long-winded introduction that you've been listening to,
I think it's very short.
The last time you will hear us talk about the original films or the ensuing prequels or the upcoming Disney-produced Star Wars films. We're not talking about any of that ever again on this podcast.
Nope.
And in fact, if you or I or any guests we may have on future episodes...
Ooh, Robert Duvall?
I hope we can get the great Bob Duvall. Great. Unfortunately, he just died.
I forgot.
But
any guest, any of us ever mention the Star Wars franchise and the other movies,
we're getting docked points.
Exactly.
Producer Ben is going to dock us points.
Yep.
I'll also give him a buzzer too to let him know they're up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd watch your language a little bit.
Maybe fire a gun in the air.
Oh, I'll bleep that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a clean podcast.
Yeah. Rascal.
Was Phantom Menace rated G or P? It's a PG, right?
I think
somebody does get cut in half.
I remember vividly at the time Liam Neeson saying he wasn't going to let his kids see it because he thought it was too violent.
It's an extraordinarily violent movie. It's just not a particularly gory movie.
I think it's G.
I mean, the death count is in the thousands in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's G, but I think... and this is the last time we're going to mention it. I think Revenge of the Sith is PG. I think that
I think Revenge of the Sith is PG-13.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think the prequels are PG. It doesn't matter.
I think they're PG. Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I just remember that Revenge of the Sith was a rating higher.
Phantom Menace was rated U in the UK, which is where I grew up.
Fancy pants.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
is the lowest. That's the children. Universal.
We're not going to talk about those movies ever again. We're just going to talk about Phantom Menace.
Okay.
Let's just set down right here. From this point on.
Let's hold hands.
Let's hold hands on the middle. Producer Ben, if you want to grab our hands too.
Yeah.
From this point on,
friendship circle. Okay.
We're only going to talk about, and let's even stop calling it Star Wars Episode 1. I know it's the full title. Let's just call it The Phantom Menace so we can remove it from all the expectations and all the ensuing hullabaloo of the franchise around it.
Yes.
The Phantom Menace.
The Phantom Menace.
The Phantom Menace.
We let go. We're not holding hands anymore.
So every episode, much like Serial, jumped around in chronology, focused on different elements of the crime.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going. There's a lot of things going on in this movie.
There's a lot of things going on in this movie. Are we
plot-wise? There's a lot of things going. This is not a simple movie to unpack.
There's a lot of text. There's a lot of subtext.
There's a hell of a lot of backstory that is really not plumbed in great detail.
Oh, and this is another important thing. We're not going to talk about other films.
No.
We're not going to relate this to any other types of movies.
Right. Or anything ever.
Anything. No. But we do want to delve into the Lucas-approved backstory to some of the elements contained within The Phantom Menace.
Sure.
So characters that only exist in The Phantom Menace, we are going to be going to Wikipedia and reading you what the official Lucas-sanctioned backstory of those characters are.
Yeah. There's a lot to learn.
Here's the key question you ask. What if there's a character that's also in other movies?
Forget it. Forget those other movies.
To us, it's just what happens within The Phantom Menace.
Right.
C-3PO?
Yeah, he's a robot who lives in a sand hut, a half-built robot.
Yep.
Protocol droid. I don't know why.
He was built by a little boy, and
built
sadly,
by a 6-year-old boy slave.
He was never finished.
And he was unfinished.
It's too sad. He was never finished.
I mean, he can operate. He moves around. But
he works well.
He doesn't really get to fill his potential.
But he's a little naked, and he never gets to meet any nice robot friends.
He makes one robot friend in the movie.
Does he?
Well, R2-D2.
I wouldn't say they become friends.
Well, sure. They banter. There's a little bit of banter.
They meet.
There's a meeting.
Yes. He also meets some pit droids at the pod race, but, I wouldn't say they're friends.
Yeah, I mean, see, he's a bit of a brittle guy. I feel like it's difficult for him to make friends.
He can't leave the house that much. He's so weak.
His joints are exposed, and he lives in a sand place. There's sand being blown everywhere. It's the worst thing. You need some.
Don't keep those wires exposed.
Exactly. All that grit gets in. His processors will get. How's he going to be able to deploy his 6 million forms of communication?
Get it together, little Annie.
Well, we'll talk about him.
David,
That's a perfect. I mean, Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
In The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
He's a 6-year-old boy. Mm-hmm. I think he's 6. Is he 8?
It's somewhere.
He's a child.
Ages are the same.
Right, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Who is a slave and works at like an auto body shop.
Yep.
And races on the side.
Mad good at pod racing.
Yeah.
His mom doesn't want him doing it.
No, she doesn't want him. And also his mom seemed to just gave birth to him with no father present. Yeah. But
it was an immaculate conception.
Right.
And Yoda, who's just some guy who sits on a Jedi council.
Yeah, he's like a space monk. I don't know.
He seems to be in charge. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A position of authority.
They say he's really powerful. I see no signs of it.
He mostly sits.
It's
a seated performance.
Talks calmly.
Yeah.
He claims that young Annie
It's
has
a little presumptuous.
a lot of... What's presumptuous?
That he talks with a little bit of presumption, I feel.
Oh, sure.
It's
I
calm.
thought you were saying I talked with a little bit of presumption.
No, never.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yoda senses a bit of anger in Anakin. We don't see it.
No, not really.
No.
Maybe irritability, possibly. Mostly relating to the fact that he's a slave, I think.
Yeah, he just goes, I wish I could get out of here.
Yeah,
But
right.
He doesn't seem angry.
No.
Most kids get angry if you give them the wrong juice box.
Yeah, well, he's not getting any juice boxes.
Well, I'm saying, considering that he's a slave,
Yeah, he's
I think
pretty chill.
his anger is proportionate to his situation.
At one point, he seems happy that he's getting to go home to his slave house.
Would
he,
anyone...
he literally says yippee.
Yeah.
He's still enslaved to. Anyway, we'll get to all of this.
These are separate episodes.
Yeah.
So sometimes
but these are examples.
Sometimes we might focus on a character. Sometimes
Right.
we might focus on an element that runs throughout the film.
Yeah. Plot, setting, you
Yeah.
know, the sort of major themes of the film.
For this episode, we've decided that we want to focus on the beginning of the film.
I mean, where else would you want to start?
What
really?
better way to start a podcast than with the start of The Phantom Menace, which in and of itself is just one movie taken on its own.
Sure.
The start of whatever might come afterwards. Who knows?
Yeah. You know, a lot of films you think, oh, there might be a sequel to this. There might be a sequel here.
It says episode 1 in the title, though. This is the first piece of media we're supposed to consume.
Right. Number 1.
Right. So that's all we know.
Pretty sure it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how it goes, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Movies usually go up.
Yeah. Exactly.
I've never seen a film series start at 0 and then the next one's -1.
I don't know. That sounds like a pitch.
Yeah.
I think we should go to Hollywood. All right.
Yeah,
guys,
we should go to Hollywood.
We that's our idea. Just everyone out there, that's our idea.
Producer Ben, can we reschedule next week's podcast recording because we have to go to Hollywood?
Yeah, we.
Okay, yeah, I understand. I mean, that's $1 million idea.
It's a
so.
it's a $1 million idea.
We want to get $1 million to make this movie in Hollywood, California.
Right.
We
This
established...
movie was not made in Hollywood, California, was it? Mostly shot in Britain
I think so.
and Tunisia.
Yeah, and here's a fun fact.
I think Italy a little bit.
This film was entirely financed by George Lucas.
Yeah.
It was an independent film.
Yep.
He sold the theatrical distribution rights to Fox.
Yep.
And they released it at a commission.
Sure.
But he financed the film himself with the money he made selling the rights to the toys.
Yeah. He pre-sold the rights to the toys.
The Hasbro toy company, he said to them, hey, I'm going to make The Phantom Menace. And they went, cool, we'll give you $100 million to make toys to a movie you haven't made yet with characters we haven't met yet.
Right.
And he took that money and he made the movie.
It's almost a rags to riches story.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant businessman.
Brilliant.
That's the first point we have to make about George Lucas. And I with no sarcasm. He is one of the smartest businessmen alive.
No question. But this is an important lens to view the film through.
Yeah. It is being made almost with merchandising in mind. I don't know that that's a bad thing or a good thing.
Well, I think that's note A. And note B is, because of the freedom granted to him by those merchandising sales, this movie had... no
studio notes.
No creative overseers.
Yeah.
He was able to make his unfettered vision.
That's true.
That's maybe a backup question we're trying to answer here. Is George Lucas happy with The Phantom Menace? Did he make the movie he wanted to make?
Yeah.
The public didn't like it that much, but maybe in his eyes he went, nailed it.
Right. He watched it last night and he was just like, really?
They're
Great
missing.
job, George.
I don't understand how they're missing it.
I don't know. Did he even think about us? Can you hear us, George Lucas?
I don't know. I've called him so many times he won't get back. So it's like I know he's busy. I know he has other things to do, but it's like also I know he just sold his company. I know Strange Magic is finished. It's out in theaters. Like,
did you see Strange Magic?
Yeah, I saw Strange Magic.
How is it?
It's really bad.
Great. Okay.
We're not talking about that.
I know that.
David?
All right. There's a minus, let's just say -1 point.
Yeah, I think that's a small infraction.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, Phantom Menace, we're talking about the opening. Are we even going to talk about the opening crawl of Phantom Menace? I feel like that's pretty important.
Oh, I'm pulling up the opening crawl right now.
Yeah. So, in fairly unusual, you do see it in films sometimes. There's a bit of exposition in text on the screen to lead everything off. I mean, the Mask of Zorro has it. Yeah, there's the occasional movies decide to there's too much information. They can't present it in any other way. So let's just have a little bit of expository text just to set us in time and place.
Well, usually it's fun too. It's like, here are the scenes you don't want to,
right, exactly. Let's get past the
play out. This is the nitty-gritty, this is the backstory, but it's going to sound exciting.
Right.
So that by the end of the opening text, you're rearing to go. You go, ooh, the stage is set.
Yeah, it's usually something pretty scintillating.
Okay, so here we go. Ready? Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Right.
Sentence 1, let's start it out. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
We're sitting in the theater. I'm there opening night. I'm 10 years old. You're 14?
It was 1999. I was 13 years old.
13 years old.
Yep.
Okay, so we're sitting there. Oh, boy.
Oh, geez. I was at the Odeon Leicester Square, I remember.
I saw it at the Ziegfeld Theater in Midtown Manhattan.
Both theaters we've named are the biggest theater in their respective cities.
Mm-hmm. And 2 of the biggest cities in the world.
That's absolutely right.
So we're sitting there. I'm sitting there with my dad, my brother James.
I was with my dad and my brother. Yeah, wow. Okay. Parallel experiences.
Oh, boy. I knew there was a reason we were supposed to do this podcast together. Okay, here we go. Opening sentence. Ooh, how's the Phantom Menace going to start us off? Turmoil has engulfed the Galactic Republic.
All right.
Okay.
Turmoil.
Hey, exciting. High stakes.
Yeah.
What's this turmoil? Is there a war going on?
Galactic, too. Republic. That's a lot of planets.
Oh, but the fighting, what's happening here?
And don't forget, this is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So this is an unknown world, unknown universe. Like, and it's a long time ago. This is history.
Prior to the prologue text, there was a prologue text.
It's
letting
true.
us know that this crawl is informing you of what happened before the movie you're about to watch, and that all of this is taking place a long time ago in a galaxy
very far away.
Far, far away. So that stage is set. We're excited.
Yeah.
Turmoil has engulfed the Galactic Republic. Awesome.
Turmoil.
Fucking rad. Next sentence. Oh, boy, describe this turmoil to me. The taxation of trade routes to outlying star systems is in dispute. Okay.
No, all right, so the taxation, there's trade routes to outlying star systems.
Okay,
so I guess there's inlyings, there's like inward systems.
Sure.
Trading to outer planets.
Yeah.
And that trade is being taxed. That's under dispute. I mean, I understand there would be some dispute.
Sure.
I'm not sure if you want to...
I don't know why we need to focus on this, you know? I mean, but look, it's
he
just
needs
one
a
sentence
generating event. Look,
sure.
Whatever.
Okay, but I guess some planets and ships have goods that other planets and ships need.
Right.
So they're routes.
Yeah.
And
routes or routes?
A taxation of trade routes.
Routes. We don't know.
Okay.
It'd be good if someone read it aloud, honestly, in the film.
I know.
Like Robert Duvall.
It's annoying that this is having to fall on me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying...
look, after all these years.
I'm happy to do this for this podcast, but it's been, 16 years since this movie came out? I'm the first one to have to ever read this out loud.
I mean, you're doing hero's work. Keep going,
If Lucas had read it aloud in the office, he would have realized, like, oh, should it be roots or routes?
That's a problem.
I don't know which one it should be.
A lot of things maybe should have been read back.
Yeah.
Before they printed it. But anyway, keep going.
Okay, well, so we got that taxation stuff out of the way.
Trade routes.
Let's get into the turmoil.
Under dispute.
Hoping to resolve the matter with a blockade of deadly battleships. Ooh.
Deadly battleships.
Ooh. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Break down that blockade.
Right.
Deadly battleships. The greedy Trade Federation has stopped all shipping to the small planet of Naboo.
Very pejorative, by the way. Greedy.
Yep.
Look, everyone's got a side in this.
Mm-hmm.
So we're being told the greedy Trade Federation, whatever that might be, well, obviously the Trade Federation is not going to like taxing of trade, by the way. Why is there a Trade Federation?
I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't know. If we're talking multiple galaxies, who's making the decision of who gets to oversee all trade?
There should be some union busting here, I think. And I'm very pro-union, but I don't know if there should be one Trade Federation for a whole galaxy.
Agreed.
But anyway, with their battleships, someone gave them battleships.
Yeah.
They're blocking trade to the planet of Naboo.
Specifically, they're targeting Naboo for some weird reason.
Yeah, which is, okay.
A small planet, once again, pejorative. A planet.
Greedy, small. Yeah.
Sure, maybe it's
leading
smaller,
off in a negative way.
Smaller than the others, but come on, it's a planet.
It's bigger than you or me.
Much bigger than you or me. I'm a little guy.
I'm a very tall man.
Even so, it's bigger than you.
All right.
Bigger than a city, bigger than a state. It's a planet. Okay, so they're not shipping to this one
battleships,
smaller planet. Okay, so we get it. That's what's going on. While the Congress of the Republic endlessly debates this alarming chain of events.
Endlessly? How long is this? They don't even say how long this has been going on.
Endlessly.
I mean, are we talking weeks? Are we talking a galactic month?
David.
Endlessly. Anyway.
While the Congress of the Republic endlessly debates this alarming chain of events, the Supreme Chancellor has secretly dispatched 2 Jedi Knights. Ooh, sounds cool.
We know, yeah.
Well, we don't know.
No, we don't.
We don't know at this point what those are.
No.
This is episode 1. This is the first film.
I think I'm getting docked again. I won't make this mistake again.
Producer Ben?
Yeah.
Official decision?
I'm going to let it slide.
I cut myself off.
Okay.
But yeah, 2 Jedi Knights at least.
2 Jedi Knights. Ooh, interesting.
Right.
They dispatch them. The Guardians of Peace and Justice in the Galaxy. Cool description.
Cool. They sound like sort of galactic policemen.
To settle the conflict.
Right. Settle this conflict. Not sure why you just send 2 guys. Sounds like there's a lot of battleships. Well, maybe send an equal amount of battleships. But I guess it's, let's try and nip this in the bud. Stop this escalating.
Agreed.
Yep.
And even though you say the Guardians of Peace and Justice within this galaxy.
Yep.
This sounds like something maybe the government should get involved in. This is a government issue.
Yeah, maybe not secretly dispatch these people. Maybe publicly,
Right.
Yeah. But apparently it's being endlessly debated. I think, I think it's pretty clear George Lucas had a bit of an axe to grind.
He had an axe
Endless debate in Congress.
Yeah.
We get you.
Okay, so let's start attacking the film from this angle. Just from the opening crawl. What is this movie about? How much the government sucks?
Yeah, how long things take to figure out in Washington, D.C.
The slow process of getting things changed at Capitol Hill.
And I guess, taxation?
He really cares about goods being shipped to the proper places.
I mean, the more important thing is that this is never explained in the film.
No.
There is no explanation of, why Naboo? Why disrupt that particular planet?
Why do they care?
There's no explanation of why the Galactic Senate can't just blow these guys out of the sky. What power they really wield. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really make a ton of sense. People complain about it all the time. I've heard it's about taxation, boring. Yeah. You could make it interesting.
You could.
But there's really never any explanation.
Here's a bigger question that I, in a recent rewatch, realized is not answer. What goods?
Yeah, what goods? That's a good point.
What goods? I don't need you to tell me every good that is shipped across the galaxy.
Some major ones.
But a couple.
Yeah.
Because each planet seems to have a lot of stuff going on.
Naboo is this incredibly fertile green planet with an ocean world.
Yeah.
Now, I did a little bit of clicking around on Wikipedia, and it suggested that Naboo is apparently a resource-poor nation, and it needs goods. Doesn't say what goods. There's no evidence that Naboo is a resource. Every single house in that place is this marble palace.
It looks lush.
Everyone is wearing 18 costumes just layered on top of each other. And makeup and jewels.
Yeah, and there's a lot of water around. There's a lot of forestation around.
This is a gorgeous, it's almost, I think it was this not shot in Italy? It's like a Tuscan planet.
It looks beautiful.
It's a gorgeous planet. There's no citizens.
Yeah.
You only ever see the sort of reigning, the queen and her government.
Each person on the planet of Naboo essentially has a state worth of space to themselves. One could assume.
Right.
It seems to be a very, very spacious planet.
Maybe that's the thing. It's just that there's not a lot of people out there getting the resources. They just trade. It's like a paradise planet.
Okay, but
not explained again. Yeah. None of this background is given. We just know that Naboo is a sort of a peaceful planet.
Yeah.
No real army. And they're being bullied by the evil Trade Federation.
This Trade Federation.
Greedy Trade Federation.
Just saying, hey, we're not sending stuff to you.
Yeah.
Fruit or something? There's some fruit they want?
They just need a couple crates of bananas.
It's like the recent issue with Chipotle not getting enough pork delivered.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe there's no carnitas burritos.
Right. Okay,
just
yes.
in Naboo.
There are other things you could eat. There are ways around this, but people have gotten attached to carnitas burritos. Maybe there's some kind of fruit.
Right.
The Jaja fruit or whatever it is.
Ooh.
And
sounds exotic.
We can't get it, and people are freaking out about it.
And for some reason, this is being debated in the Galactic Senate endlessly.
But they can't stop the Trade Federation. They can't force their hand. Their best way to deal with it is to send 2 Jedi Knights.
2. And no, 1 Jedi Knight and his apprentice, who is not a Jedi Knight.
He's not even a full Jedi Knight. He's still a Padawan.
And he has a dumb braid.
Padawan braid.
A Padawan braid. And he is it's like the doctor showed up with his medical student in tow, with his intern.
It's my intern.
Exactly. It's like, the carpenter came with an apprentice. It's not 2 Jedi Knights. Does it say 2 Jedi Knights in the opening?
In the opening credits, it says 2 Jedi Knights, but that's right.
What the hell?
Once again, if you read it out loud, look at things we're already figuring just by reading out loud. Not 2 Jedi Knights. 1 Jedi Knight, and a Padawan.
Yeah.
A lowly little Padawan.
Right.
We've decided...
Somewhat sarcastic Padawan.
Oh, he's very sarcastic.
Yeah. A little. He's a little too chippy for me.
I don't think these negotiations will last long.
And yeah, he has a really Ponzi accent.
A really Ponzi accent.
Yeah.
Born with a silver spoon in his mouth, I was going to say. Played by...
Ewan McGregor.
The great Ewan McGregor. The late, great Ewan McGregor.
No, wait a second. I
just got word. I just got word. David, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry you had to find out this way.
Did like a bomb drop at the same party in Hollywood or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's right. Yeah. So do you want to get to the film itself?
Yeah. Our cutoff point for this episode was, I think we agreed on 8 minutes and 26 seconds.
Somewhere in there. It's basically the first wipe of the movie.
His favorite type of edit, old Georgie. He loves to use a wipe edit.
He does.
And it's the first wipe where we move away from the Trade Federation ship onto the planet of Naboo.
That's right. Yes, it's a wipe from the ship to the beautiful, gorgeous skyscraper palace marble cathedral that is the Naboo government, seat of government. I don't know.
And that's where we both agreed to turn off the movie.
Yeah, we stopped watching.
We're not going to look at the beautiful stuff.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Well,
I mean, space is beautiful. It's sort of a haunting beauty.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, opening shot of the film. Now that we've moved past the crawl and our problems with the crawl.
Yeah, the crawl dissipates into the sky, into the stars, and our camera sort of swings over.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful looking ship, flies by, camera pans with the ship.
Yeah.
Right?
You got those great Ben Burt sound effects.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that people don't talk about enough with George Lucas and his directorial style. There's a lot of restraint.
Yeah.
For a blockbuster, an action film, a sci-fi film. There's a lot of silence.
Yeah.
So you hear that great Ben Burt effect.
Yep.
But he allows there to be the silence. There's not music wall to wall. No. Even though we know these great Phantom Menace orchestral cues.
They're coming.
There's some silence here.
Yep.
Cut inside the ship. 2 pilots there.
You're really going in detail.
2 Jedis with their hoods on.
Yep.
They say something, okay.
The Jedis look pretty cool,
They look pretty cool. We just see some cool hoods,
You do not want to mess with these guys, is the impression. Even though they're simply dressed still.
It's great visual storytelling. You see through their body language.
Yep.
Through their pose. They're closer to the camera.
Yep.
Their backs are turned, which indicates a certain level of power and mystery to them.
Yeah, they seem to almost want to kind of bring a certain atmosphere wherever they go.
Arms crossed, 2 pilots sitting in the front of the ship. They look over their shoulders. Sirs, do you want to? They don't seem to be really confident what they're talking about. They're dweebs, they're nerdlingers, they're herbs. Bunch of herbs they are.
Yeah.
They go, whatever they say. Should we dock into the ship? British accents, right?
Everyone in this thing has a British accent.
I think they say something like requesting permission to dock on the blockade ship.
Yeah, on the battleship, which looks like a donut with a hole.
It looks like a donut with a donut hole. It looks like a donut
with one bite taken out.
One bite taken out of it, and then a hole placed in the center where the hole was. So they filled in the bite, but at the wrong spot.
It is an absurd design.
It's a weird ship.
It's a really, if you're talking battleship, that doesn't look like a battleship.
And the hole doesn't look connected to the rest of the ship. So if you're in the donut, you want to get to the hole, you presumably have to get in a different, smaller ship and fly out into the hole.
There's got to be some kind of connecting to it.
I didn't notice a bridge. I mean, look, we're going to be focusing on other parts of the film in ensuing episodes.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But we'll get back to the donut ship at some later point. We'll see if the bridge is there.
Yeah, we will.
But off my memory, I don't remember there being any connecting tissue between the donut and the donut hole. Okay, so they're coming in on this ship, requesting permission, screen comes up, and this is our first alien we see.
That's
in
true.
The film.
Yeah, he's the first. We've seen 4 humanoids so far, humans.
Good point, because it is a galaxy far, far away. There would be aliens to us. None of this is taking place on Earth.
That's true.
They look human to us.
Yeah.
Technically human.
Yeah.
They would be aliens. If they landed on our planet.
Where'd this guy come from?
Naboo. That's not Earth. You're an alien, bro.
Looks like Tuscany, not Tuscany.
Nope. Looking mad Italian, bro, but use an alien.
You have a perfect BBC English accent, but you're an alien.
And raucous charm.
Raucous?
Raucous.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah,
not raucous. Yeah, certainly not raucous.
Yeah, Obi-Wan is not raucous.
Raucous? How do you pronounce it? Rakish?
Rakish charm? Is that what you're saying?
Rawkish. I don't know
if that's a word.
Well, it turns out I was spelling it wrong. It is R-A-K-I-S-H.
Right, rakish charm. Yeah,
marked by up-to-dateness and dress and manner. So it was also wrong, because, up-to-dateness for that, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, well, Obi-Wan has, I know what you mean, like a bit of just a sort of a British charm. Like, he's not exactly threatening, he's sort of polite, but still there's a bit of an edge.
Oh, I was talking about Qui-Gon.
Oh, well, him even more. Him, I feel like everything that Obi-Wan is, Qui-Gon is that elevated, right?
Yeah.
You know, they're sort of similar in tone, but Obi-Wan's still a little bit babyish. Qui-Gon has just figured it out.
Those piercing blue eyes have seen so much, have lived through so much pain, yet he put a positive spin on everything.
Cropped beard.
Oh, what a tightly cropped beard.
Lovely cropped beard. He's got shoulder-length hair.
Pulled back.
Yep.
Oh my God, what a good-looking fucking guy.
Qui-Gon Jinn. His
nose, by some standards, might be too big, but it fits his face so fucking well.
You know, I mean, beyond that, you're not even getting to his voice.
Oh, God, what a voice.
The kind of voice that can shut down a room.
It could shut down a room. And it could drop a couple panties.
Panties, space panties, I don't know.
Drop a couple
space
boxer
pants.
briefs even.
Yep, absolutely.
We're not judging this progressive podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe the movie we're talking about took place a long time ago. This is taking place 2015, baby.
Yes, this is taking
place
place
2015.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
We're progressive.
Very progressive. But I mean, we don't even know the sexual mores of the Phantom Menace are...
Oh, no gay people allowed.
You know, is that right? Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's not addressed in the film, but you're...
Trade Federation didn't want any shipments made to Naboo, and also gay people aren't allowed.
Those are the two rules that we know.
Mm-hmm.
The two sort of like rules that people are abiding by.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
No, that's a fact. I looked that up on Wikipedia.
On Wikipedia?
Yes.
Okay.
That was on Wikipedia. But for most of this show, we're going to be referring to Wikipedia.
Right, which I believe is starwars.wikia.com, I think. Yeah.
So, request permission to dock. Screen comes up. We see the first appearance of...
Oh, right.
A more alien-looking creature.
Very alien.
Green.
Sort of jelly-like skin.
Rubber lips.
Red, lidless eyes, like a snake.
And most importantly, the eyes themselves are very round.
Yes.
But rather than the kind of humanoid eyes we know where it's, a pupil in the center.
Sure.
Iris around it.
Yeah.
You know, circle with a circle and a circle inside of it. This has no such thing.
Just red.
And then black lines. They're black squiggly lines.
That's right.
In the eyes.
Yes.
There isn't like an iris. There's like a black squiggly line.
An eye slit. I don't know.
Yes.
Something. Yeah.
And this is important to address up front. Those slits are slanty. The eyes themselves are round, but the slits slant upwards at, I would say, a 25, 30-degree angle.
At least. It's subtle, maybe at first, especially on a video screen, but the more you look at him, and we haven't even heard him talk yet, but...
Oh, and boy, I'm ready to talk about when we hear him talk.
Well, what's his name?
This, I believe, is Nute Gunray?
I think so. Nute Gunray, yes.
There are a couple of them, not to sound racist, they do look similar.
And also, I don't think their names are ever spoken in the film. I think this is all provided through the credits, through the Wikipedia. I don't think
Action
they ever
packaging.
say.
Yeah.
No one's like, "Hey, Nute, Nute, come over and take a look at this." Like, no, there's never any of that kind of title. You know, to his credit, George Lucas kind of eschews that sort of easy expositional dialogue of like, "Oh, you're Nute Gunray, president of the Trade Federation. I'm Qui-Gon Jinn." And, you know, no one does anything like that.
Sure, in certain cases, yeah. I mean, they talk a lot about taxation.
Do they talk a lot about taxation?
Yeah, across the film, I think they do.
Okay.
But Nute Gunray, they say, permission to board the ship or whatever, and they're like, wincy British accent.
Yeah.
And he says, of course, as you know, our blockade is perfectly legal.
Yeah. I think you are doing it credit there. I think there's even the sort of like pauses like, perfectly legal. Like it's insane how much time he takes between words, as if he is finding the word in his, let's be fair, mouth that may not be built for galactic basic, the language spoken in the film.
Well, and this isn't a very, very important detail to discuss. Their mouths do not move
even remotely close to what they're saying. No, not at all.
Now, maybe you could go, wow, aliens, you don't know how their lips move and this and that. Every other alien we see across the film, their lips move in conjunction with the words they are forming in a way that is recognizable.
That is true. Then his race is the Nemoidians?
Yeah, some bullshit like that.
They all kind of behave like this, where it's like the mouth just sort of moves like flap, 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 flap. The words are just there, There's no correspondence. It's just like basically it's like they're pressing a button to move his mouth, and they just press the button until the words are done. But you can't even fit your brain into it and think like, think like, well, maybe they missed a spot here or there, but it looks basically right. There's no, it's the opposite of seamless. It is filled with seams.
I remember seeing this film opening night, super excited.
Sure.
Oh God, state-of-the-art effects we're about to see. This alien comes on screen. The design is amazing.
Design is amazing.
Texture of the skin,
it's a gorgeous
everything.
movie, and I'm watching it on my Blu-ray last night.
Looks gorgeous.
It's a fantastic transfer. It really looks great.
Mm-hmm. It was well shot. It was the last film director George Lucas shot on film. I don't know what other movies he directed after this.
He might. We're not getting to that.
Not worth talking about.
But this was his final, I think, effort on film, which of course, that's reflective more of just the sad state of an industry switching to digital.
That's a separate podcast.
Look forward to that, though.
Oh, God, can't wait to do that one.
Oh, the death of film with Griffin Newman and David Sims.
And, we've been tiptoeing around it, but let's address it head on.
The movie, the character and the entire race of Nemoidians.
Yeah.
Who are savvy trade experts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, savvy economists.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat weak-willed when it comes to battle.
Yeah.
Comes to warfare.
Have the power to hold up the galaxy by refusing to ship goods that they have.
Sure.
They're seemingly the supplier of all the important goods.
For some reason.
In the galaxy.
For some reason, this entire federation of a galaxy's trade is controlled by one jelly race of just horrifying, offensive stereotypes.
Clearly meant to be
Japanese
Chinese
people. Oh, you think Chinese?
Ooh.
See, I was waiting for us to get to this.
Interesting.
It's the most unfortunate thing is it's actually not even clear. It's just Asian. It's really just an Asian stereotype.
I thought Chinese. I'll say this. I was reading more of the subtext than the text of the film.
Right.
I thought Chinese because of their stranglehold on
on sort of commerce and manufacturing and that sort of stuff. I get that.
Production, shipment, all of that. But I guess you're right in terms of their garb. It's more sort of traditional. I mean, they're wearing. It's almost close to a kimono.
Yeah. It's sort of flowy robes.
Yeah.
I mean, again, general Asian sort of quote unquote Asian culture being appropriated.
Right.
And for the absolute worst possible, it never makes sense because these are characters who have no redeeming qualities.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel like that is the biggest problem about this.
Yeah.
They simply exist to be manipulated by one evil figure.
Yes.
And be a problem for all of the good people. And at no point are their motivations remotely sympathetic.
They also can't even lie convincingly.
The worst liars in the world.
They're not characters who turn out to be bad guys, even when they're saying good things like, as you know, this blockade is perfectly regal.
You're not hitting the legal.
Yeah,
there's like
legal.
It's who voiced the character? I forget who voiced. I think the same actor voiced
it was
a bunch
Buddy
of
Hackett
them.
and Mickey Rooney did all the voices. George Lucas just took old Buddy Hackett party records.
The Trade
Chinese
Federation
waiter,
might as well be Mr. Yunioshi, and Naboo might as well be Audrey Hepburn's apartment in A Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah, I'm surprised that in the background of the ship there isn't just a Charlie Chan alien going, I have a mystery to solve.
It's amazing that they're not wearing lampshade hats and like moving screen doors around. And it's... I mean, as a 13-year-old, I thought something was up about the way they talked.
Something weird.
Yeah, it was especially the way they talked it was just impossible to ignore.
I remember at this age, I did not know what stereotypes were.
Sure.
My father, a year or two later, explained stereotypes to me in a way, because there was some joke in a movie that was explicit, and he said, well, some people like to make generalizations.
Right.
About certain races or certain types or, socioeconomic brackets or whatever.
Right.
And I went, oh, that's weird. That's weird that you could look at an entire group of people and say all of them do
one
this,
thing about
and none of them
right,
do
exactly.
this. At the time, I didn't understand. I just went, they're aliens and they're talking in a weird way.
Yeah.
But looking back at it now, they're definitely Asian people.
They're greedy, spineless, Asian merchants
with slanty lines in their eyes.
Yes.
Who talk in a way that is recognizable to us.
Yeah. It's a very basic sort of hacky stereotype.
Like a bad stand-up routine.
Yeah, they can't really pronounce their R's. They're easily manipulated. I mean,
they pee in our Coke. Don't get mad at me, David. That happens in the film.
That does happen in the film.
That does happen in the
later,
film. They do pee in our Coke.
Yeah. That's a real throwback reference.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
So the Nemoidians,
yes,
the Trade Federation, Nute Gunray,
yeah,
he's on his donut ship, and he says, feel free to dock with us.
No problemo.
Offering them guest right. He's letting them onto their ship. There's a certain I feel contract being upheld here, where like you have free passage onto my ship. I won't treat you badly. You're safe. As negotiators, right? Like that's sort of a diplomatic status that any country would afford to another country's emissaries.
Yeah, we're gonna let these two ambassadors.
Yeah.
Come aboard.
Peaceful ambassadors.
Yeah.
Although they are carrying laser sword weapons.
They don't know that at that point.
They don't know that, but do they hide it?
They don't realize that they're Jedis immediately.
That's true.
It takes them a second. They go, wait a second, these ambassadors appear to be Jedis. The best thing about doing this podcast is that no one can accuse us of being racist for doing those voices, because
I think people could still accuse us.
We're doing spot-on impressions.
Unfortunately, yes.
Blame Uncle George.
Yeah. Why did he do
that?
Someone at some point was in a sound studio just like this one. It's probably exactly like this one. It may have been this studio.
I went, hi, George?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this...
Yeah.
This is definitely how you want this character to talk?
Yeah, it sounds good. If you... a little more. Just a little more.
Okay, but when you... I'm not going to... The other ones in the race aren't going to talk like this, right? All the other Nemoidians aren't going to...
We'll see. I'm not sure yet. Why don't you just set the tone? Just a little more?
You want all of them to have this...
We'll see. Probably.
Is this scratch dialogue, or is this what we're going with?
I think this is gonna really fit with their mouth movements, so we're gonna use this.
So you want me to do this dialogue in this voice?
Yeah, like sort of like is that illegal? Like that?
Like, I mean, you know what you sound like right now, right?
At that point, I feel like probably some emissary of Skywalker, like Ranch, sort of would come and whisper in that guy's ear and just be like, "Just do the lines, just do the lines.
Don't talk to George.
Yeah, don't worry.
Don't ask George.
Yeah, you can be in the video games too.
Don't worry. Yeah, kids are gonna love Nute Gunray.
Okay. Is there a Nute Gunray action figure?
Are you kidding? There are multiples.
Multiple Nute Gunray. He doesn't even have a thing. He doesn't even have like any accessory.
No. No, he just holds his hands together a lot.
He holds his hands together a lot. He has a bunch of, subordinates.
Yeah.
They're all kind of sitting around.
Yeah. Can we do a little merchandise side corner here?
Sure.
This will be a regular feature where we spotlight certain pieces of Phantom Menace merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
I remember saving up my money for months, maybe like 6 months.
What was your allowance at the time?
Tiny.
Yeah. Very small.
Tiny. I mean, it was in coins. I remember.
Right.
It was a collection of. It was maybe 75 cents. I think maybe we'd moved up to $1.
Yeah. You were 2 digits, 10 years old. Time for $1 a week.
I just cracked the double digits.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe $1, maybe like 75 cents, right?
Yep. So you saved and scripts and saved.
I know this Phantom Menace merchandise is coming out. I want me some Phantom Menace toys.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm going to buy every character. But they had this one item on sale that I was told through marketing that I needed to have. That all the toys would be incomplete without this one item.
Had the film come out at this point?
Had not come out yet.
Okay.
I believe the on-shelf date was like April.
Right. Film comes out in May.
Yeah, movie was coming out like a month later. It was a big deal that all the toys were out. They were saying, oh man, they're going to fly off shelves.
Yep.
You don't know who the best characters are going to be yet. You haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, and I remember I went in there knowing the characters' names before they were spoken.
100%.
There was that much of a publicity blitz that small characters, I'm like, oh, that's Captain Panaka. I just knew just through everything that had come through.
They were everywhere.
Yeah.
So you didn't know which characters you were going to love, which characters you're going to hate. What do you buy?
Right.
I thought I was going to buy like 8 different characters.
How much money did you have?
I've been saving for a long time. Okay?
Yeah.
And I get there.
Yep.
I go, well, trailers imply this pod racing scene is going to be great.
Sure.
We got Anakin. I know he's presumably the main character. Trailers seem to focus on him.
Yeah,
he's
did.
The focus of the teaser poster.
Yep.
Little kid walking, weird ominous shadow that doesn't look like anything I recognize behind him.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
We get Anakin. Ooh, they got one that comes with the pod racer.
Sure.
More expensive, but why not get that?
Okay.
It's going to cost me a couple other separate figures I could get, but why not get
so
Anakin?
You got Anakin with his pod.
With his pod. Okay, let me get a figure. Oh, God, this guy looks like he's going to be the breakout star of the film. This is the one who's most visually appealing to me on the shelf. Watto.
Oh, boy.
Had to buy Watto. I went, this guy is going to be fun.
He's distinctive. We'll get to
cool.
Watto. We'll get to Watto.
He looked cool. That's going to be a two-parter. We're going to do 2 episodes about
I think
Watto.
that might be another spinoff, actually.
Just what are you talking about? David, what are you talking about?
So you got yourself Anakin, you got yourself Watto.
Okay, I had the budget for probably 4 or 5 more characters.
Oh.
Oh, no, I can't do it. Because I need to get a ComTech communicator.
I don't know what that is. I do not know what you're talking about.
A technological breakthrough at the time. The Phantom Menace want to have your characters talk.
Okay.
It's the first time ever Star Wars characters come to life. They talk to you.
Sure.
For the first time ever, Phantom Menace, 1 film into the franchise. Maybe it's a franchise, maybe it isn't. I don't know.
You're getting onto rough territory.
But the figures are so small. I don't know if you remember this. They're small figures.
Sure.
They're like 3/4
Yeah,
inch.
he's holding his fingers apart.
Little penis-sized figures, right?
Yeah.
Size
I
of
don't know
like
about you.
Little penis.
Yeah, little penis.
Yeah. Not saying like our penis.
No,
I'm saying
no. A little
think of a little penis, and that's
yeah.
about how big the action figures were.
Yeah.
Couldn't fit the technology inside them to make them talk. So each figure came with like a little like microchip.
Okay.
In plastic casing.
And I see, and you had to buy a separate thing.
Yes.
To make those microchips make noise.
Right.
Okay.
It looked like a dog tag, translucent plastic. It had a little picture of the character on it. Get the chip, then they had the ComTech communicator, which looked like the thing that Qui-Gon uses later in the film to like radio to the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's like his space phone. It goes, right?
Great dialogue.
So it looked like a much bigger version of that.
Yeah.
And you'd get one of your chips and you'd swipe it across, and the sensor would just play the sound.
This is sort of teaching kids to use their credit cards when they grow up.
Right. That cost about $35.
Good God. And so you bought that.
Bought that.
Wait, how did we get on this? How did you get, or is this just...
Because I want to say, at this point in the film, you're asking what Nute Gunray came with.
Yeah, what does
as
he
an action
have?
figure?
Yeah,
Okay.
he doesn't really have anything.
At this point in the film, the characters didn't come with that many accessories because the ComTech chip. Kids are crazy about these ComTech chips.
That's definitely why I know what those are.
Yeah, kids are crazy about them.
Yeah.
They had a little hole in
Their
them.
legacy endured.
They suggest that you'd wear them around your neck. They came with the ComTech communicator came with a little beaded chain. It's like, oh, where's the bracelet? Put on your backpack. Kids are going to be trading ComTech chips like crazy.
Like crazy.
Like crazy. So I, at this point in the film, the first 8 minutes and 26 seconds, was keeping track of how many lines of dialogue each character recited. Because a ComTech chip, I think, had 4 or 5 lines on it.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, man, a character better say 4 or 5 lines. That means they got
they're
ComTech
going to be
potential.
worth buying. Yeah, right.
Otherwise, they're not. They
you
might
were
not
a really
even make
special
them.
kid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They might not even make them.
Okay.
So I remember when
Nute Gunray.
The British, the ship drivers of our Jedi Knights.
Yep.
2 lines. They're probably not going to make the cut.
Yeah.
Nute Gunray immediately was jumping out.
Oh God, he's monologuing practically.
Distinctive voice.
He's like Richard Pryor up there.
There's an abundance. You know what the deal with this trade federation is.
It's a fine line.
It's a fine
line between the lines he wrote and just a straight up impression.
Blame George.
Okay.
Blame George.
George Lucas.
Jedis walk in.
Yep.
They dock.
They walk in. They're led to a room by a protocol droid named TC-14. I think.
God, what a great character.
She's very shiny. She
Love
looks like nothing. Carry on.
We haven't seen anything that looks like her before. She's one of a kind. TC-14.
Yep.
I will say, looking here at Wikipedia, what does it say here?
about TC-14?
Yeah, TC-14 was a Cybot Galactica TC series protocol droid, part of a special lengthy production run that introduced new features and skill sets.
Okay.
The company wanted to highlight the introduction of Tran Lang 3 Communication Module Center into their droid line by including the letters TC in the serial numbers of all droids produced in this series. Of these, the early ones, including TC-14, were often referred to by a TC prefix. Like TC-14 herself, nearly all of them were programmed with a feminine personality.
Right.
And like her, they were excellent at operating calmly under pressure.
Yeah. Does she operate? Or does she lead them to a room?
This can largely be attributed to the frequent number of memory wipes she received.
Oh. So this is sort of George Lucas's take on a ditzy secretary. Is that the idea? She's been mind wiped so many times. She's sort of like, ooh. She does that a lot. She
leads them in. Please sit down. And then she goes back to the Nemodians.
She does. She heads right. I mean, she's a professional. She goes right back to the bosses and says, I don't know if you know this, but those are Jedi Knights.
She says, if I can quote her directly, I believe she says, them motherfuckers be Jedis.
That is exactly the line. It's crazy this movie was rated PG.
I know.
She says,
them motherfuckers be Jedis.
Yep.
And she says it in the exact tone that I just said.
In the exact tone.
Excuse me, them motherfuckers be Jedis.
Yes.
So they go,
motherfuck. Jedis.
Once again, verbatim dialogue.
Yeah. So one time they don't sound like Asian stereotypes.
Yeah, they start sounding exactly like us. They go, motherfuck. Jedis, what do we do? Should we go in there and stop them? And they're like, no, send a droid.
Right, yeah. To give us the impression that the Nute Gunray and his cadre of jelly people are pure cowards. They can't even talk.
They didn't even want to see them.
They have arrived for negotiations.
They're not ready to fight. The
They are
Jedi's
not
just want to
bearing
talk.
weapons.
They're
literally are
ambassadors.
there for negotiations. They send a droid with tea.
Yeah. She comes in with a little silver tray, just as shiny as she is.
Yep.
Little shiny cups on it.
Yep.
They take their sips. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon have been like, bad feeling about this.
Yeah, they're chatting. Obi-Wan is sort of going on about like, I sense something elsewhere, elusive, something bad's going on.
Well, that's the weird thing.
And Qui-Gon's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, because Obi-Wan's like, I got a bad feeling, something feels weird. Qui-Gon's like, I'm sensing no danger in the immediate area.
Right.
Apparently these Jedis have some sort of spider sense.
Yeah, Obi-Wan is basically saying, like, my psychic power extends so far that I suspect something vaguely bad is happening just in the world right now.
Yeah, and Qui-Gon's like,
will you shut up? The boy is talking. He's a psychic. You don't want to listen to him for a second?
Yeah, you're a Padawan. Know your place.
Yeah, so it's true. Qui-Gon shuts him right down. So we get an idea of the power
Qui-Gon's
dynamic.
Going, there's nothing dangerous in the next 2 or 3 rooms. It's like, fuck you, 2 or 3 rooms. I'm not talking about rooms. I'm talking bigger picture here. He's like, you're a Padawan.
Yeah, be mindful of the living force, he says, whatever the hell that means.
Who knows what that is?
But keep your mind in the present. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what he says. Master Yoda says.
I think he's just kind of dick slapping him. You know, he's just like, Obi-Wan's like, oh, this is kind of cool. And he's like, hey, I talk.
Yeah.
You drink your tea.
Yeah.
You're here to learn. Like, I think he wants Obi-Wan to have a notepad out right now and just be, like, jotting down every move.
The intern at the office has a good idea, mentions it to the boss in the elevator. The elevator's like, when I was an intern, I never talked to the boss.
Exactly.
And then the next, like, he sees
the boss has to shoot it down just to make a point.
But then, he's at the big conference room thing, and they're like, any other pitches? And he's like, yeah, you do have this one other one. And suddenly he pitches the fucking intern's idea.
Right.
And that's the one that gets him
it's
$1 billion.
Do we ever have a scene where Obi-Wan later just calls the Jedis and he's like, hey, I think something generally bad, elusive might be happening? I don't know.
Some sort of Phantom Menace.
Just speaking of the Phantom Menace, we see him.
We see a guy.
We at least see someone we might presume to be a Phantom Menace.
Holograph.
Yeah.
Is referred to as Lord Sidious.
Yep.
Wearing a heavy robe.
We thought Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan had heavy robes.
Get out of here.
This guy's robe is so heavy. Like, if that guy was in a rainstorm, he wouldn't be able to walk.
No.
That thing would be so freaking heavy.
No, and it doesn't look rainproof. It looks like a heavy, maybe velvety fabric.
Is this not an advanced spacefaring civilization? Like, worlds are accessible through light speed travel. Yeah. This guy's wearing robes. Everyone's wearing robes.
Wait, so you could trip over yourself. Yeah. You're going to trip on your own feet. Get out of here.
Jesus Christ. He walks so slow, too.
Someone goes, hey, can you hand me a pencil? He's got to roll back his sleeves all the way just to...
But
all those pockets he must have.
To be fair, we don't know who this guy is.
We don't know who this guy is.
There is absolutely nothing distinctive about his profile.
I would say the only thing I know about him is that he is a Phantom Menace.
Yeah, very phantom-y.
You can only see the bottom half of his face.
Yep, and if you put your hand through him, he's a holograph. You go right through him.
Can't touch him.
Phantom.
You don't know. You don't know how big or small he is because you don't get a sense of scale with a hologram.
That's true. He could be a 1 feet tall.
He could be a 1 feet tall. That is correct, David. He could be a 1 feet tall. He could be a 12 feet tall.
True.
I refer to people exclusively by their height.
A 1 feet tall.
David, you are a 6 feet tall.
6'3".
Why? I don't get into inches. I just talk about the feet.
So you're round, up or down.
Yeah.
So if I was
the
6'7", I'd be a 7 feet tall.
No, I'd still say you fall into the 6 category.
Oh, I see. So you just round down.
Yeah, I just round down.
You round right on down.
I round right on down.
So for all we know, if he's a 12 feet tall, he could be 12 feet and 11 inches tall.
Yeah, closer to 13, but not...
But in your
my classification,
scale,
he would be a 12
feet tall. Right.
So we got this...
So Sidious, immediately, they hear he's a Jedi. Rather than send their negotiator or maybe even
Sidious just goes, take care of it.
Sidious is just like, execute these motherfuckers.
Get rid of them.
I think he does this. He dusts his hands. He wants to make it so clear.
First he has to roll up his sleeves.
He rolls up
and then he dusts
20
them
minutes.
off.
Yeah,
it takes 20 minutes.
Yeah. So we're getting a couple things. One, these Neimoidians, they're not running the show.
And they don't want to deal with conflict, number 2.
They don't even want to deal with conversation.
For guys who are holding up the whole galaxy, they seem very, very confrontation averse.
Yeah, they also do they talk to anyone on Naboo in these 8 minutes?
That comes a little later.
Okay.
That comes at the end of the 8 minutes, the tail end of this 8-minute section of the film.
Gotcha.
They send TC in with the shiny T.
Yep. Then
suddenly, gas.
They attempt to gas the Jedi.
They said, TC, take care of this, and then someone else from some fucking control booth starts gassing.
With, by the way, the most obnoxiously visible gas.
Yep.
They couldn't have found an invisible... these guys are obviously professionals. At least try to execute them with some class. Like, brown smoke pours into the room.
The doors have barely closed behind TC-14.
It's true.
I don't even know if they have. They might close after the gas comes in.
Yeah. And, by the way, the Jedi are being really obnoxious to TC-14.
Right. And also, why do they need to send TC-14 in there? They keep on saying, let's
she's
let
collecting
a droid
their
do it.
tea. Yeah. Like, who cares?
She's giving them tea.
Why doesn't TC-14 walk in there with a laser gun and shoot them both in the head?
They don't have her do that.
No. That's true.
And she, for all we know, she's done this thing 18 times. She doesn't remember because they keep on wiping her down memory.
Poor lady. That is something we really need to get into.
Let the droid deal with it.
TC-14.
We're going to get into it.
Yeah.
Let the droid deal with it. TC walks in immediately to gas the place.
Right.
They didn't need her to do anything.
Yeah, it's like they're using her for misdirection, but it's sort of irrelevant misdirection.
For a millisecond of misdirection before the gas comes in.
They're like, oh, hey, what's up? Gas.
Gas. Immediately... I don't even know how to describe this, David, but immediately the Jedis take out laser swords.
Wait a second. We missed a crucial thing.
What?
As they're deploying the gas, they also blow up the Jedi ship.
Oh, right.
And that seems to trigger everything.
And that's the moment I knew that those two characters wouldn't get action figures.
Yeah.
Because they've died and they've each had one.
Is there no charred corpse action figure that you could buy of them?
Yeah, but what the ComTech ships say. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. It's like, hey, what's up? Oh, God.
My bar was you needed 4 lines or you weren't going to make it to action figure form because kids were all about them ComTech chips.
We're going to talk about the ComTech chips a lot
every
on this
episode.
Podcast. Yeah.
Every episode.
So, the poor Jedi pilot friends are executed. Their ship is blown up. Gas floods into the room. They,
Jedis take out some sort of...
It's cold-blooded. The Jedi stand up, take out laser swords.
Laser sword. I wish...
One green, one blue.
You guys could see what I saw because I don't even know how to describe it.
My jaw hit the floor. It hit the floor.
Classic handles
so
like you'd
far,
see
what
on
have
any
we
sword.
seen? Ray guns.
Yeah.
Brown gas.
Spaceships.
Spaceships flying around.
Aliens. Robots.
Lots of robots.
Lots of robots.
Tea.
Lady robots serving shiny tea on a shiny tray.
A Phantom Menace, but here, what are we seeing? Laser swords.
Laser swords. They come out.
Big guys got him. Little twerps got him. They both got him.
Cut through the door. Get out. Oh my God, robot army.
More robots.
More robots. They come out, and the Jedis just fucking slice
they just tear through them. It's pretty cool.
Ooh, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Ooh, this movie's done with all that taxation stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's getting to the action.
Yeah, all right. It's true. After that preamble, it takes a couple of minutes for us to get into limbs being hacked off of robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
These guys can move around like they're like ninjas. They can jump. They can sort of like knock people on their feet just by moving their hand. It's cool.
But always seem very calm.
Yeah, they are doing it. It's like they are like putting their groceries away.
Yeah.
It is that the poison gas fills the room. All they seem to do is just hold their breath.
Yeah.
From this noxious poison gas.
Yeah, they just hold it.
They're just like,
take out their laser
dioxin.
swords.
Yeah.
Cut through the door, kill a bunch of these robots.
Nice.
PG rating is retained because they're robots and not people.
Yeah, if they were people, that'd be a little brutal.
Be super
There'd
bloody.
be just little heads and limbs flying around.
Modians see it on a screen.
Yeah.
They go, oh no. Once again, a spot-on impression. Do not complain to me. Not my fault.
There's nothing we can do about the fact that they sound like that.
They close the doors, right?
Yeah, they close the super blast doors or whatever.
Qui-Gon starts cutting through.
Yep.
They're like, oh no, we need a more powerful door. So they put up a different door. It's like 3 layered doors.
It's like when you lock your top deadbolt on
right.
your, when it's like maybe a little scary outside.
They're like, this laser sword can't cut through all of these.
Right.
It's too thick. So what he does, he just takes the laser sword. Before he was trying to cut around it like he was cutting cookie out of dough.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
These swords are really powerful.
Really powerful.
Yeah.
He just pushes it straight in.
Yeah, into a molten mess. I mean, his hands, he's like a pizza man, like a great pizza man with calloused hands. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't care if he's basically next to molten door lava.
Yeah. And
it's beautiful to watch.
I don't know if you know this, David.
Yeah.
But the secret to a great pizzeria, an old oven.
That's true.
You need an oven with a lot of flavor baked into it over the years.
And you could say Qui-Gon Jinn is the old oven of this story.
No question.
Yeah. There's a lot of ingredients baked into him.
He's got a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
And that comes from years of experience.
Qui-Gon is like an old pizza oven. Obi-Wan, he's like a saltine. He's like a cracker.
Yeah, and he's maybe putting a little marinara sauce and a few flecks of mozzarella on top.
Where's the garlic?
Yeah.
You know? Where's the salt and pepper? Where's the gabagool?
Those hands are too soft, Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I really like a lot of gabagool in my pasta.
I love some gabagool.
Yeah, in my pasta.
A little gabagool, a little bada bing. That's what I like in a pizza pasta.
Exactly.
You ever eat
Talking Pizza Pasta
This
with
is Talking
David
Pizza
Graff.
Pasta with David Graff.
Yeah.
And Purdue or Ben. Maybe we'll call him Pizza Doer Ben.
Okay, so he just pushes right through that fucking door.
Right, because Obi-Wan's like, how are you going to get through here? Qui-Gon's like, can't cut. Let's just burn it down. He just makes it so hot that the door melts through.
Mm-hmm. But they are distracted by rolling, force field robots.
Destroyer droids come out.
Yeah, they call them destroyers. The Japanese evil people call them Droidekas, which
they roll
is
out.
never explained.
They pop up.
Yeah, they shoot. They have like lots of lasers. They have force field. They seem like tough cookies.
The Jedis deal with it.
Yeah, even the Jedis are like, ugh, these guys.
And then they just decide, oh, we don't need to confront the Neimoidians anymore. We should get out of here.
Yeah. Why did they do that?
I don't know.
I mean, let's be honest. As much as these guys are cold-blooded badasses, it's like gas, no problem. Bunch of droids, no problem. Door, no problem. A couple more droids. All right, let's get the fuck out of here.
Let's cut our losses and leave.
Let's just get out of here.
We were here for one purpose, which was to negotiate with these guys.
Instead, let us go to the planet of Naboo.
Yep, let's not talk to them.
Right.
Let's just get out of here.
Now, you could see maybe they're just thinking, look, obviously these guys have it out for us. There's no negotiations. As Obi-Wan says. What does he say, Griffin?
What did I tell you? I thought the negotiations would be quick. Something like that.
The negotiations were short. And then I think Qui-Gon, as he says short, just slaps him in the face.
Slaps him in the back of the head.
And he says, I don't want to hear another word out of you.
Yeah, I'll nink and poop.
And then Obi-Wan's silent for the rest of the movie.
Obi-Wan doesn't talk again for the rest of the movie.
Which is great.
Escapes through the air ducts, lands, says that killer line.
Ugh. The house falls down laughing.
And then they just get home somehow. We don't know how they get home.
Did they stow away on a ship or something?
Probably something. I don't know. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
And they cut back to the Neimoidians, and they are there talking to Queen. I'm sorry, Queen.
She's not a princess.
Queen Amidala.
Excuse me, princess.
Queen Amidala.
She's no princess.
Yeah.
Queen Amidala, a 12-year-old British girl.
Who's in charge?
Wearing what appears to be like a carpet of red. Just so much carpet on her shoulders.
Was she elected?
In the Wikipedia, we learned that she was.
Right.
Yes.
It's not a bloodline. She is a 12-year-old.
She's an elected 12-year-old. I think she's 14. Yeah,
let's put her in charge.
Yeah.
Played by Academy Award winner, Natalie Portman.
Yes, not yet an Academy Award winner.
Yeah, but you could tell.
It's true.
You knew it was coming.
She's just seething presence.
It was a matter of time.
Her face is painted white. She has 2 little red dots on her cheeks.
Little Kabuki-esque.
Yeah, very Kabuki. She has like a red line on her bottom lip, and then her bottom lip is painted white.
Like a split lip.
She is like seated with her arms on like some big chair. She never moves, and she speaks with the most exaggerated, like Madonna-esque fake British accent you've ever heard.
Yeah. And she goes, "We have sent 2 ambassadors to negotiate the trade," and they go,
"No, Nabonians, they pull a great trick here.
They go,
it's real good."
"Well, we have not many ambassadors."
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
this is all legal, and we haven't seen any ambassadors. Carry on.
Yeah, their answer to her going, "You're doing illegal stuff," is, "No, we're not doing anything illegal."
Yeah.
And their answer to the ambassadors is, "We don't know what you're talking about."
The answer to the ambassadors is, "Here's a face full of laser and dioxin and robots."
Yeah. No evidence that they've ever been here. As far as we know, they didn't dock.
By the way, there's massive amounts of evidence, such as the exploded spacecraft in their hangar. Yeah.
Charred corpses.
One imagine there's surveillance videos of the 2 Jedis trying to melt through their door. They've got a melted door on their hands.
They also know that the Jedis...
The melted door is probably over his shoulder. Amidala can't just look. Wait a second. Why is that door melted?
They also know that the Jedis escaped through the air vents.
That's true.
And so they're going to get home somehow and tell her, like, "Hey, that didn't go so well."
Yeah, but they figure, look, why don't we just say, "Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean?"
I also think the Nemodians...
Ambassadors, negotiators.
Nemodians knew that at the end of the day, the Jedis were going to get more trouble because they'd come home and be like, "So that didn't go that well. They tried to kill us." And she was like, "Well, tell us about the negotiations." And they'd go, "Well, we didn't get to talk to them."
Yeah.
She was like, "You had one job. It was to talk to them. What happened?"
She thinks it'll be like, "Hey, man, so what if they tried to poison you?"
Yeah, dude, your job was to get the talk done.
Yeah. Anyway.
They said they didn't even know you were there. Why didn't you go through the door? And they were like, "Well, we were burning through it, but then the droids came out." Don't give me any excuse about burning through it. Then the droids came out. Fight the droids, then finish burning through the door, then go talk to them.
And then sit down at a table and negotiate.
Negotiate.
He's talking to her.
Yeah.
We really need a negotiator. They're negotiating right there.
Negotiate over video. You don't have to send people to a ship.
It's a lot of bureaucracy. I mean, maybe this is what George Lucas is getting at.
I know this film was set a long time ago.
In galaxy, far away. Yeah, right.
But in 2015, where we have comparable technology, people make business arrangements over the phone, over email, all the time, over Skype. Why do you need to be present in order to come to a deal?
I recently solved a trade blockade on a planet over Skype.
That's what I did today. That's why I was late to this podcast recording.
You were late. You were 15 minutes late.
I was really late. Yeah. But that's the way that things work. You don't need to do it in person. You don't need to send ambassadors. You're the queen. Deal with it directly. Talk to them. Just go, "Hey, guys,
you
cut it out."
An elected 14-year-old queen of a planet.
Yeah.
You maybe know how to deal with a couple of Nemodians in their donut ship.
You didn't get that job by accident. You got it for a reason.
According to Wikipedia, she brought down an unfortunate, a king that nobody liked. She was the leader of a political revolution in this planet.
And she was like 8.
Yeah, when she was a child.
She was 8.
And then she's elected queen.
Yeah.
Which is,
yeah,
maybe president, I don't know, senator or something. I don't
know.
And she, the minute she's elected queen, they're like, "Hey, do you like to have one giant U-shaped braid around your head?"
She said, "Yes, please."
And she was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, it's going to be the thickness of a human arm." And they're like, "Yeah." She was like, "Lay it on me." That is how I want to do all negotiating.
Here's the Queen Amidala story in a nutshell.
I want my head to literally be just being pulled back at all times by this giant braid.
There's a reason she's sitting in a chair, and that chair's got a back.
Oh, that chair has a reinforced back.
She's not sitting on a stool. She's not standing up. She can't.
She's probably 90 pounds, and then you add the clothes, and she is 800 pounds.
If even 90 pounds.
Yeah, she's light as a feather.
Queen Amidala
She's a young woman. She's not a fully grown woman.
She's a girl. I'd say she's a girl.
Yeah. Not yet a woman.
Not yet a woman. The Queen Amidala story in a nutshell is she is born.
Yep.
She learns how to poopy in a toilet like a big girl. Then she leads a revolution and gets elected queen.
Right.
Those are all of her major life events.
Yeah.
She's so young, she hasn't lived through anything else.
No, I don't. I mean, we don't even know how experienced she is in the ways of the world.
She knows how to poo-poo in a toilet. But other
than
that
is true. That is true.
Other than that, she might not even know how to read or write. Barely had time.
We don't see her do it.
Barely had time. The Nemodians, she goes like, "You guys better not be messing around."
Yeah, she kind of is just like...
She's like, "Come on.
Wait a second.
Seriously, no ambassadors?"
Yeah. No one's making a phone call?
No one's making a phone call to them.
Yeah.
And then they say, and I wrote this down verbatim.
Okay.
We would never do anything without the approval of the Senate.
They literally are blockading a planet.
That's all they're doing.
There is obviously no approval from the Senate.
They don't care.
The Chancellor of the Senate has sent 2 Jedi to deal with this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bald-faced lie. If I'm Amidala, I'm like, these 2-bit clowns.
But the key,
I have to deal with this.
The key to lying, if I learned anything from John Lovett's pathological liar character.
Great character.
When you stretch out a word, it sounds like a lie.
That's true.
Yeah, that's the ticket. And they literally say, we would never do anything without the approval. They go so deep into it, she's like, okay, let time be the judge on this one.
Yeah, and then she turns off her bubble screen.
Star wipe, and we're out.
That's true. That's true. That's the first 8 and a bit minutes of the Phantom Menace. Yeah, you're crying with emotion.
I'm crying with emotion. So we've reached the end of this first episode.
But so, well, what is it about?
It's about shipments.
It's about the taxation of trade routes into the outer galaxy.
No, watching these first 8 minutes again, trying to go into them blind, fresh, as if I didn't know what was going to come, if I hadn't already seen the movie 10 times, including the 3D re-release, which was a waste of money. It was a bad conversion.
It was a terrible conversion.
Muddy and not that much dimensionality.
No, yeah, and you could mostly take your glasses off and watch the same movie for
most
of the movie. Yeah.
Look the same.
Yeah, anyway.
I would go, okay, this is a movie about an entire democratic system.
Yeah, a sort of naughty political system.
Collapsing.
Yep. Or in the beginning of degradation,
as they turn on the good people.
Right.
If they're that quick to want to kill the Jedis,
it's true.
I go, man, this movie's going to be these Jedis on the run.
It's reflective of a society where the rules are no longer being obeyed.
The knives are out. And
I said, they had guessed right. They're invited onto that donut ship.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even through their space ham sandwiches. They haven't even finished them.
They didn't even get to board the donut hole. They were still on the real donut.
Yeah, they were like, hey, can we check out the hole? And the guy's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Excuse me while I push this button for the space gun.
Gas you.
Yeah, Jedi Knights, clearly. I mean, if this ditzy, half-brain protocol droid who can barely hold a tea tray walks into the room and is like, whoa, these are fucking Jedi Knights.
Memory is wiped left and right. Can't remember her own mother's name.
Oh, TC1.
1-4.
No, but her mother's.
Oh, TC1, the original, the OG.
Exactly.
The OT.
Yeah, but the
OTC.
Even she can recognize. So the Jedi, obviously, paramount importance. You know, hugely recognized in this galaxy.
And I assume it's going to be Midnight Run. I assume it's going to be these two guys just trying to get home, sort stuff out.
Sure.
On the way, everyone's trying to kill them.
Right. It's like we're being thrust into a very complicated situation that maybe we don't need to know the nitty-gritty of. It's just like bad guys up there, good guys down on the planet.
And now we pull the ripcord, we're ready to go.
Exactly.
It's going to be nonstop thrills and action from here on out.
As much as we're having fun kind of poking at the fact that this is a movie that maybe like doesn't spend a lot of time trying to make sense, trying to explain its backstory, maybe we don't need the backstory.
If it's fun, it's fun. 8 minutes work so far.
We get it.
It's setting the stage.
Bad guys.
Now
like, do you like Asian people? Then you won't like this movie. You know?
Do you hate Asian people?
Oh.
You are in for a treat.
Do you have $12? How much was the ticket price in 1990? It was less than that.
I think it just cracked 10. I remember that being a big news story.
I paid about £6 to see this movie.
I remember this was the first film I ever bought tickets on Movie Phone. It was a big deal. We had to buy tickets in advance because it was going to sell out.
Right. It was that. Yeah, of course. You actually had to reserve your seats.
And I remember seeing the news stories about those dummies waiting online, camped out for weeks.
Nerds.
Yeah, and then I just went and I called up a phone number, and a guy said, 2 tickets for Wednesday.
Keep going.
4:45 p.m. I think we saw it right after school.
And do you remember the theater? Oh, you said the Ziegfeld. Right.
It was packed. And I saw the guy sitting in front of me was wearing the donut shirt. He had a shirt that was just the donut ship on it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I went, man, that's going to be an exciting ship.
That ship's going to do a lot of work.
Yeah. I remember I saw the shirt. I went, that's an interesting ship. And then the ship appears 90 seconds in. I went, oh boy, that guy picked his shirt correctly.
He did. He led strong.
This movie is wasting no time getting to that ship.
Yeah.
That ship's going to do some damage.
We got a red ship, then we got a donut ship. Boom, boom.
So I think that covers the first 8 minutes and 26 seconds of The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Once again, this episode will not be going in 8-minute segments.
No,
this series will not be going in 8-minute segments.
But we wanted to set the scene as the film sets the scene.
Mm-hmm. And so our analysis of what the film is about from just the first 8 minutes, it's a nonstop thrill ride as 2 Jedis try to make it home while defending their lives, and hopefully in the process expose the corruption that's happening within the Trade Federation.
The naked corruption.
Naked corruption.
Like a child could expose this corruption.
Yeah.
Come on.
David,
also, they couldn't have brought a tape recorder, maybe? Get a little hard copy evidence.
Yeah. Well, you got heavy robes, no one will notice a wire.
That is true. And no one's patting these guys down.
Because if you're just wearing a T-shirt, they go, I can see a wire through your shirt.
TC-14 isn't like, hey, let me pat you down.
Yeah.
No, she's like, hey, do you want some tea?
She might not even remember that word.
C.
It might not be in...
14.
Thank you all for listening to our podcast. Come back next week.
Yeah.
We'll try to solve the mystery of what the Phantom Menace is about.
Yeah, what will the next... I think the next thing... What's the next thing you want to talk about? I think...
Let's next week dive into Queen Amidala.
Yep. I like the word dive.
Dive into...
Yeah.
Queen Amidala.
Yep.
Her reign as queen.
Yeah, the political system.
Some of the Wikipedia backstory about how she was elected, and how she might not be all that she seems, and why you might want to pay attention to some of those handmaidens in the background.
More like face maidens.
Including one played by, wait, is that Natalie Portman?
Wait a second, what are you talking about?
Dual role.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We gotta dig in. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah.
And as we always say in the Phantom Menace,
live long and prosper.
Yeah.